success. This is the idea that you should be aspiring for more, a better job, essentially. That's really where success is located in our judgments that we make about ourselves and about others. It's not success measured by the yardstick of kindness or gratitude or pro-sociality, but instead measured by occupational success. So, for example, when we talk about social mobility, we don't actually mean social mobility, we really mean occupational mobility. That's really what we mean. We mean people getting better paid jobs. Well, the associations with status in work and happiness are very weak.
When we talk about research skills in a transferable context, what we mean is that research can and should be considered more broadly than just what goes on in the lab or in the library stacks. It doesn't matter if we're talking about experimental research in biology or chemistry or scholarly research in the social sciences or humanities. Doing good research requires a broad set of skills and interpersonal competencies, and these transfer extremely well to a wide range of careers, even outside academia. If this transferability idea doesn't seem obvious, just think of research as applied critical thinking, applied problem solving. And since research is never a truly solitary experience, it takes a complementary set of skills like collaboration, leadership, and communication, not just to execute a successful project, but to make it meaningful to others.
So, from this research, psychologists developed a theory about how emotions depend on both cognitive factors, the way that we understand our social surroundings, and on physiological factors, the physical changes caused by the nervous system. From their studies, this theory was developed. A stimulus initiates the physiological response, and at the same time, the stimulus is interpreted in the brain and takes into account previous experiences of similar situations. The brain produces the actual emotion that we experience, and the nervous system produces the degree to which the emotion is felt. So, emotion is a mixture of both cognitive and physiological factors. The studies also found that the mood of an individual sometimes matches that of another. If one person was angry, their associates would get angry. But if that person was euphoric, others too would start to become happier.
There are lots of different ways to express ourselves using nonverbal communication, particularly when we're feeling authoritative or showing dominance in a certain situation. Often people may subconsciously exhibit dominance through spreading or expanding the physical space they're occupying. This can be seen both in humans and in the animal kingdom, when birds spread their wings or people lift their arms in a show of almost pride when they've achieved something, which makes them feel powerful. Studies have also shown that even people who are visually impaired react in the same way, often by raising their arms in almost like a star shape. So it's genetically ingrained in the vast majority of beings to make ourselves look as large as possible when we're feeling dominant.
Among the many proposals concerning how to improve policing is the suggestion that the police might share the statistics they hold about where and when criminals have been caught. The idea is that by sharing the numbers, it will increase public confidence in the police. However, there's always the risk that sharing police data could have the opposite effect. Obviously, while the aim is to improve trust and inform the wider public of the good job being done, there is still at the same time a risk that it could also raise fears irrationally and make the public worry more, which the police are keen to avoid. Following a study on the impact of releasing crime data, researchers found that in fact the publication of the figures did not substantially increase fear among the wider public. Instead, it stimulated more trust in the work the police do. These findings may therefore justify using valuable financial resources to make this kind of information available in future, as long as it's part of a wider, effective policy for policing neighbourhoods.
The link between the color of foods that we eat and their flavor is often a very logical one. Oranges are clearly orange, and we would expect any food that is made with an orange flavor to have a similar color. This expectation, which I wouldn't say is unreasonable, is not new. We expect chocolate-flavored items to be brown or cherry flavors to be red, and traditionally many foods have a specific color associated with them. Over the years, these colors could be made more vibrant by the addition of artificial colorings, but there were still a relatively small number of food items that contained these substitutes until about a generation or two ago. It's been estimated, though, that up to 70% of the food in the average American diet is now made up of processed foods. This is a huge increase from the past. Many of the ingredients will have gone through so many chemical treatments that the food is, by the end of the process, in fact, gray in color. Because so few people are prepared to eat gray food items, the use of colorings in the food chain has grown dramatically in recent years.
There are certain books which undergraduate students of philosophy are required to read. I'm talking here about texts which regularly appear on the reading lists handed out by tutors at the beginning of a course. One such standard text is The Republic by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Why is it worth reading? Well, obviously, there's the content. It discusses an important basic question, namely, why should people be good? But above all, it is in fact extremely readable. It's written in the form of a series of conversations with different people. It's as if you're listening to living people talking to each other. This means the information you have to understand is broken down into short sections.
The 1 o'clock gun at Edinburgh Castle. The castle is Scotland's most popular tourist attraction. Historical sites like this, especially those with strong royal links, are giving Britain a welcome financial boost. The UK's famous historical landmarks are attracting more and more overseas visitors, who then go on to spend more than £500 million a year during their stay.
Many countries have systems where citizens can vote for their leaders. However, usually citizens don't have to vote if they choose not to. It's quite different in Australia, though, where everyone over the age of 18 has to vote when there are elections. Anyone who fails to vote may be ordered to pay a specific amount of money. Some Australians have complained about this system, however, saying that people should have the right to choose whether they vote. The majority of Australians accept the law, though. In my opinion, filling in a voting form once every few years isn't particularly hard to do.